If I ask you what clothing brand can overcome Zara as the biggest fast fashion referent, some people might tell me Uniqlo, maybe other H&M. I think it would be 80 or 90% of the answers. But if especially make the same question to the young people of the Generation Z, almost the 100% will answer a very different question. Shein. In Spanish call this as Shein, other people call this Shein. You may not hear this, but it is the brand of the moment. So, this decacorn, you should know a decacorn, 10 horns. If a unicorn is an enterprise that worth more than 1 billion before beginning to the stock market, a decacorn is 10 times bigger, a company that worth more than $10 billion. But being strict, we could define Shein as a pentadecacorn because it worth more than $15 billion. Even if we have not heard them, as we told you, it's a reference brand to the Generation Z. I mean, toys born between 1994 and approximately 2010. This Cantonese company created in the year 2008 by Chris Xu have been very unnoticed until finally have been exploded. So, if we analyze their figures, it's normal that Shein capture both attention and fear by their competitors. Their more than $10 billion in sales in a so complicated year as 2020, a year with clothing brands were in trouble, Shein became in the big leagues. Since its foundation has been duplicated smiling every year, it is so important that have been accumulated 2,400% of growth the last 5 years, and bets are being made on when it will surpass Zara, a real madness. The origins of Shein are curious. In 2008, Chris Xu, his founder, worked in online marketing and CEO. Until then, he didn't see many interest in the fashion world. At some point, he was forced to try his luck selling wedding dresses in the international market because it was a highly demanded product and he thought it could leave some margin. It is necessary to bring a parenthesis, because you would ask why a good work in online marketing suddenly dedicated himself to selling wedding dresses? And this practice is very common in China. Today we manufacture washing machines, tomorrow tires to excavators, and the day after tomorrow we sell insurances. Anyway, we don't expect to have those 10,000 hours based by constancy as a pianist or an athlete. The entrepreneurs prove and throw away when something goes wrong in a continuous trial and error process. That's why it's very difficult to find little companies with 10 or 20 years of experience in the sector in China. I remember a meeting I attended. I will tell you to see the great cultural wealth when I sometimes comment to my clients. They were going to sell their products in China, and part of their presentation were based in their high experience in their sector in Europe. In the moment of the presentation, they told, "We are in the sector for 24 years. We know what we are talking about." Something very valuable in the Occident. The buyers didn't know that I speak Chinese. They looked at each other and one of them thought, if they have been doing this for 24 years and they have not retired yet, they will not very good at it. Imagine the lack of importance of the experience and the constancy that flows in this sentence. The idea that China allows if you are well in something with the economy of scale. If you are really great in your sector, you will have to turn a millionaire in months, at least in some years. But you will not dedicate to this all of your life. What sense would it make if I didn't plan to become a millionaire in these 5 years? If you want a tougher job by eternity, work by other people. The Chinese dream is not to have a company to earn the double or triple you would earn as an employee. The true Chinese dream is to become a millionaire. The rest is going wrong, or being still halfway. And if you are wrong, what are you doing? Why don't change your job or business or sector? The idea is it because the employees can change permanently of job until find the job that fits your needs. But instead, the entrepreneurs choose a project and deal with it. It's my child and I have a lot of affection with it. It has cost all of the saving of my life. This is what many entrepreneurs say me when they show their project. But if you pay attention, this approach is really terrible. The one-child law elevated to the business world. And following the Chinese idea of give all of their only child to take care of them when they be elderly. So it's the advice. If it's your case, Take care a lot of your business because you don't seem having a plan B the day you are old. No, in China it doesn't occur. No one holds on their businesses because it's so difficult to find companies in the private sector with a certain age beyond historical logic, that there are not private enterprises with more than 40 years. And this thing about trying to get rich suddenly is not a thinking fan for reality. All of us have a relative, a friend, or, I don't know, a classmate that yesterday earned $500 per month and today own properties in 15 different countries. We see the Chinese dream permanently around, and it is not a lie that say us and never occurs. And well, talking about Shein again, what did Chris do? Trial and error, until he achieved the best way. The wedding resisting worked, and interestingly it worked with drop shipping. I mean, he didn't have nothing and took approach of his formation in marketing online to play the signs on a web page, and when he sold, they bought. Simple. In this time, Shein even didn't call Shein. Its original name, called Shein Inside, although with the passage of the time they decided to cut this name. The case is that it became Raw, and Raw the catalog. It was collaborating with more and more factories in the production of their items, and the day of today is a leader in the sector known as ultrafashion. And you would think, what is the ultrafashion? If we see the old times, you will understand perfectly talking about Zara. Amancio Ortega was the first, in any case was the best. It skipped a fundamental rule in the fashion world: the seasons. And he invented what today called as fast fashion. Fashion that lasts a short time. Zara was capable to renovate the industry every 2 weeks, causing advantages of all kinds. In one side, these mini seasons led customers to consume designs that would disappear from the store in a few days, fomenting the FOMO, the fear of missing out from these stores. By this argument, Zara no longer had to make so many discounts to avoid shrinkage, so the million ticket was higher than the competitors. To give you an idea, while 30% of H&M's stock is in discount, in Zara is only the 15%. Fast fashion also managed to considerably reduce stock and inventory expenses because it's constantly being renewed, in addition to solve or reduce the gravity of errors. If you have a manufacturing error, in the end you will end up having it with a very small number of pieces. As I say, this trend changed the world of fashion, and the competition soon followed it. The point is that Shein has radically changed its industry with the ultra fashion. And now the things go much faster. To give you an idea, Shein adds 1,000 new designs every day. In just 3 days, do the entire process of observing a trend, designing, manufacturing, and putting it on the market. Taking into account that sell online, and we consider actions such as the photos with the model, the uploading of the post on the web page, all in only this time. And everybody is possible because series of agreements with micro factories. This is the way to manufacture batches of only 100 units, be tested in the market, and make decisions based on how the experiment has worked. Until now, the smallest batches in the world of fast fashion were about 300 units. Other importance of Shein in front of the other fashion brands is focused on the online distribution. Shein doesn't even have physical stores. I think they are recently thinking about opening some experiments, but it is not the principal idea. Pay attention that it is very different than Zara, where this thing of location was all. Actually, Zara had a hard time getting on the online sales trend and arrived so late. It's ironic that such an innovative company was so traditional in this issue. Of course, there were two dissonant points. First, the big business, I was going to say invisible, but it is quite visible of Zara is real estate, with the best places in the major capitals in the world. The other one, the zero bet on marketing. The online sales are the radically opposite, is to trust everything on marketing. The invest in Shein in this was very big. An example, If you have a certain number of followers, they send you a free set of clothes to talk about them, good or bad, it doesn't matter. They settle for making themselves known, becoming the official supplier of TikTokers and other channels. In Inditex that they are not stupid, has dealt with COVID with layoffs and hundreds of closed stores. And yes, the figures are green by now to continue give it to the sector, but it contrasts greatly with the young Chinese who continues to double their income every year, even the COVID year, while the Galician giant keeps releasing ballast and lightening weight. The fact is that Shein have turned the fashion brand of the moment. Their app overcome Amazon in downloads. It's the most visited fashion webpage in the world and the most installed app in the United States. Today in 2022, Google searches for Shein are 4 times more than those for Zara, and TikTokers, YouTubers, and Instagrammers fill their contents with pieces apparently at half the price of those offered by Zara. I would be preoccupied if I am Zara. And I can't not talk about the criticism that Shein has received. It's not very easy when you roll. When you stop flying under the radar, you become visible to customer, the media, and above all the competition. Let's start by the criticism of wild capitalism. How do you think China has run? With social policies? What has taken this country out of misery are millions of people who got up early to go to work. And who did they work for at the time of great exploitation and wildest capitalism? I mean, from the 90s to the beginning of the 20th century. For Shein, it haven't existed yet. They worked for Nike, for Adidas, for Zara, for H&M, for IKEA, for Apple. And I started with Nike and Adidas. I have talked about it in a video, but for insisting that. Curiously, the companies that have criticized China the most for supposedly having slave labor, but who has benefited the most for China's slave labor, these were the American companies who were lining up to be here. Curiously, when this capitalism, this tsunami of international companies arriving in China, it has caused a shortage of labor and salaries began to grow a lot. The only way to escape from the misery. All of these factories moved to Vietnam, Cambodia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh to continue producing, paying the lowest salary possible. Does Shein does that? Obviously yes. Welcome to the capitalism, brother, you invented that. Chinese are only more efficient, applying it, and even paying the double or triple the salary of the countries I said, are capable to produce cheaper. And obviously they work at this country theater. And if aren't there yet, will be in 5 minutes. Nothing that don't do the rest of the multinational companies governed by an Excel sheet. Other very common critic is that they copy designs. Nothing as do Zara, right? Don't confuse, I am a big supporter of Zara, but this criticism is very ridiculous in the world we live. I'm incapable to find more intellectual property crimes on the computer of this so critical journalist than in a Shein warehouse. But okay, it's not politically correct to be in favor of piracy. You know what I have talked about the political properties. I talked about it in some chapters. For me, the ideas since they float are the properties of those who wrap them. Luckily, the British settlers did not think of registering the shirts with neck and buttons, or the day of today the polos, or only one company would have been in form of monopoly. So, when a product is for everybody and when a product is unique. In the clothing furthermore, in what moment, from how many zippers or how many stitches it becomes unique and we give that company the monopoly of the product. Finally, the fashion is a sector very few protected even between the Talibans of the intellectual protectionism. In the other hand, they have hyper-regulated the issue of the registrations that as a designer is very costly to protect every design. So you should launch it and wait to find out if it succeeds or no before investing a lot of time and money on this. So you end up voluntarily offering the design to the market so that it can be fused every time you put something up for sale. I mean, what Shein does cannot be fair, but it's not illegal. And if in one place, or especially in one design that yes is illegal, We have such a slow legal system that it's not going to be profitable for you to report them. Obviously, it will be so expensive for you that large firms with a large army of lawyers and unlimited money will lead you. Definitely, complain about your politician instead of complain to Shein. They finally play with the norms that we have created. And yes, it's very difficult to fight with the multinationals. And no, it's not from today, and she hasn't invented it, or tried to open a bank or an electrical company. And finally, the overregulation, what was supposedly meant to protect us, creates brutal barriers to entry for companies, and companies deeply criticize these barriers until they overcome them. And when they finally overcome them, fight to keep them, because once inside they are very benefit, stopping the process of all those competitors who are not capable to overcoming them. Because of it in the most regulated sectors, a kind of oligopolies sponsored by state regulations are created. But back of the topic of Shein, those of us who are working clothing know that, it's easier to grow by copying than by designing from scratch. So if we want to go against Shein, fantastic, but a very few brands, if we have an intellectually honest conversation, dare to throw the first stone against Shein. And I say that I have visited lots of international brands in China, also some companies that supposedly don't produce in China, which I did some quality control works, and finally, some have more, some have less, everyone has something of this. In my experience, even in my own factory, we always copy, I say you, and when I started to design, what has to happen happened. They started to copy my designs. Curiously, Westerns copied me more than Chinese people. Chinese only copy you when you are very, very good at it. This may be a differentiator versus other Chinese brands, that only recently they only copied you when you had succeeded. I usually explain to my clients, talking about the debate of the copies, that always comes up every time we are developing a prototype and we have to divide it between different factories and assemble in our warehouse so that nobody knows the final product. I usually say them, you will copy you even if you don't make in China. Chinese go to fairs in Germany, in Las Vegas. They every day check the crowdfunding pages. And what will succeed if you don't produce in China is that you will copy much easier, because the difference between the price of your product and theirs, it's going to be so high that they are going to have a lot of margin to make an even better product than your original product. We can work to delay copies, to adjust the prices so much that it becomes very expensive for them to copy us. We can protect our technology if, for example, we talk about electronic products, but finally they will copy us. There are only one manner to don't copy you. This trick has always worked perfectly for me, and it's that the things go wrong for you. If the things go wrong for you, don't worry, no one copies you. What has been the Shein's innovation in this sense? It is to produce 1,000 designs every day. They have to copy you even if you aren't doing well, even if they don't know how it's going to work. This is how you see people from Martinique, from Lithuania, from the Congo, complaining that have been copied. Ultrafashion, surpassing this level that makes our heads explode with thousands of daily designs that we started thinking about 3 days ago. So obviously, people don't be around the bush here. Paraphrasing the old can you, everyone born original and dead as a copy. What could do the startups? Well, obviously playing the bureaucrat's game, complaints on all that or not. It is a useless war. According to my experience, startups must compete with quality, proximity, personalized treatment, values, service, and above all after-sales service. Lots of characteristics that a company that double their income every year obviously put them aside. And then, of course, the market needs what you are doing. Because the market is the true leader. Of course, the market votes every day. And the market are not fat guys smoking in Wall Street. The market is all of us. And in the end, if we all want to buy dresses for 7 euros, so I am sorry, you have to look for other job in which you can satisfy the needs of others. And this is not an apocalyptic message. We have clients in very varied sectors, competing with giants of their sector. They have their space and they are very well. Maybe the idea is not to castle and, as we said, as the creator of Shein did, try until you find a product that people value. Besides knowing that it is temporary, that nobody earns any privilege, well, unless you are the friend of the monarch or the feudal lord on duty. The market is a process of discovery, but not of leverage. When we reach the right product, when we discover the item that best meets the needs of others, cool, let's disfruit the victory, but we must know that next date it will reset, the counter is reset to 0, and we'll compete again so that people love your showcase or your web store again. And of course, Zara will be surprised one day, and Google too, and Taobao and WeChat, and ultrafashion will surpass the fast fashion, and in the same way that commercial stores surpass the neighborhood stores, Amazon, Alibaba and the other have burst the shopping centers, and in one day will be surprised by something, and the best thing will be that it will be something that we have decided together. A last point, there's already talk about the boycott of Shein. I've talked about it in previous episodes. The boycott is the most stupid method in the world because it is based on certain harm and on certain benefit. I am concerned that in an increasingly polarized world, we will begin to boycott each other's product because others will do the same with ours, and we will all end up consuming only what we are capable of producing. And this is when we come from, when the 90% of population was poor. Self-sufficiency does not work. Let's stop looking at the origin of our products because a lamp or a barrel of oil has no nationality. And more especially with Shein, another reason that a boycott is stupid is because there are thousands of Shein. Maybe we don't know them because they are not so big, maybe haven't succeeded yet, maybe they are currently working for those brands in our country that we will never boycott, but they use those Chinese companies to be able to continue saying that they do not produce in China. Anyway, I hope the introduction to Shein has been useful to you. I don't know if it will be an hegemonic brand or it will sink tomorrow afternoon. I don't make stock market forecast. If I make something, I say it to me or in any case I comment to my patrons. But I do tell you that just as I never tire of saying that there are very top companies in China with very superior technology than the Western companies, there are many inflated startups with feet of clay that burst at any moment. I will follow Nelly Shein because at the very least it deserves our attention. And today I say goodbye with a piece of advice from Confucius, which 2,500 years ago could give unmissable marketing lessons. It is not your anonymity that should disturb you, but your incompetence. Thank you, and see you later.